So dear friends, we start the unit 5th of part B. In this session we discuss acceptance sampling, lot formation and the operating characteristics curve. The acceptance sampling, it is concerned with the inspection and the decision making regarding the product. It is one of the oldest aspect of quality assurance earlier in 1930-40. It was one of the major component of the field of SQC and was used primarily for incoming or receiving inspections. A typical application of acceptance sampling is a company receives a shipment of product, component or a raw material from supplier which can be used during manufacturing process. So every organizations who are producing a product needed by a customer or a user, then such organization needs some components or a raw materials. So it can be procured from some vendors. They are producing such component or a raw materials. So a sample is taken from the lot and the same quality characteristics of unit in a sample is to be inspected. So whenever we received a lot from a vendor, then we take a random sample from a particular lot received on a particular day or in a particular shift, and whatever the desired characteristics which can assure that the shipment received is acceptable. So on the basis of information, a decision is made regarding lot dispositions. The acceptance sampling methods can also be used during manufacturing of product at various stages. That means when we are producing any product, it needs many operations. So after every operations or as per the decision taken by a production managers at a particular stage, we want to inspect during the productions, then the lot that are accepted are sent forward for further processing. So as and when the first operation is to be completed, an inspection supervisor take a lot from after first operations. He inspect whether the operation performed by a particular operator are accepted or not. So if it is accepted, then it's sent to the next operation. So if the rejected, then it may rework or is correct. So every stage we have to inspect the product during process, and if the operation performed by a particular operators are accepted, then only it can be shifted to the next operation or a next workstations. If there is a deviations, then the supervisor should have a discretion. Either he rejected that particular lot or he or she may instruct the previous operator to rework. The sampling inspection is preferred because it is more practical, quick and economical as compared to the 100% inspections. So it is very difficult to inspect each and every item during the process or a final product. So it is a best suited method. Instead of inspecting all component or a product, we have to take a sample during a fixed interval of time after every operation or at the final stage when finally the product is going to be produced. We inspect the lot, and if the lot is as per our design specifications, then we can say that the production during a particular period is in control. The main purpose is to distinguish between good and bad lots. The basic object of taking the sample is nothing. Our purpose is that during a particular period of times, when we are selecting a lot and inspecting a lot thoroughly, and we analyze whether the complete lot is bad or a good, and to classify the lot according to the acceptability or non-acceptability. The advantage of acceptance sampling: the items which are subjected to destructive test must be inspected by sampling inspection only. In some cases, the quality tests are of destructive type, so it is not possible to inspect all the product, because after inspection the product is scrapped, so it is not possible for inspecting all the items. So in such situation it is advantageous we take a sample from a particular lot and inspect it, and if that inspection decide the product is as per our requirement, then we can say the whole lot is good or acceptable. And secondly, the acceptance sampling is advantageous because the cost and time required in acceptance sampling is quite less as compared to 100% inspections. Problem of inspection fatigue are reduced and eliminated if a person who is inspecting the product or a component after a particular stage, if he or she inspected all the items, there is a fatigue occurs, and because of the work is repetitive natures, so some carelessness occurs. So acceptance sampling also reduce or sometimes eliminated the inspection fatigue. The smaller inspection staff are necessary when we are producing a product in thousands and we take the sample 50 or 100, then we need a very less inspection staff, less damage to product, because few items to be handling during the inspections. Problem of monotony and inspector error by inspection is minimized because the inspectors are inspecting the component or a product within a certain period of times, so there is no monotony, so the error done by the inspectors are minimized. It exerts more effective pressure on quality improvement, since the rejection of entire lot on the basis of sampling brings much stronger pressure on quality improvement than rejection of individual parts. It also creates a pressure on an operator who performing a certain operation, because he or she knows that if a sample is to be rejected, my complete lot is to be rejected. So there is some pressure on the operator who perform a certain operations. The limitation of the acceptance sampling is risk of making wrong decision. Sometimes we are taking the samples at a particular time, maybe all the samples which we are collected from a lot, maybe all samples are as per our design specification, but sometimes it's a chance or a probability that the bad product or the product which are deviated from our dimensions not come in our sample. Now the second part is the lot formation. Lot formation, the collection of item for which a sample of two or more articles is drawn and inspected to determine its acceptability. It greatly influences the outgoing quality and the inspection costs. Following are the key points for selecting the lots. The product from different sources and should not process initiate and ends. So whenever we are taking the samples should not be taken at the initial level or at the end of operation. So the product from different sources, the sources are the process, the production shift or the input materials, mixed together unless there is an evidence that lot to lot variation is small enough to ignore. For lot formation, the product should not be accumulated over extensive period of time. The lot should be as large as possible, consistent with the above to take advantage of low proportionate sampling cost. There are various methods of taking the sample from a lot. The one is the simple random. Randomly we have to select the sample from a lot. Stratified proportionally. Systematic. The cluster or the two stages. In simple random sampling, selecting a sample in such a way that each item in a lot has an equal chance of being selected. Means we have to take the sample in such a manner so that every component have the equal chance to come in a sample. It's called the random sampling. Since a judgment about the lot is to be made of the basis of only sample, it is very important that the sample truly represents the universe from which it is drawn. So according to this method, the sample of requisite size, say n, is drawn from a lot of a size capital N in such a manner that while selecting an item, the chance for any item of a lot being included in the sample is the same. Now we come to the second, stratified, that is also named as the proportional. In large lots, the difficulties of random selection may be so great that it may be advisable to adopt stratified sampling. For stratified sampling, the rules are drawn proportional samples. So according to this rule, inspection lot should be, whenever possible, be divided into sublots on the basis of homogeneity. Say we have to take 5 pieces every hour. Say for example, in a particular product, say operator should perform the 50 pieces per hour. So every hour we have to take the 5 samples. So in a particular shift we are collecting the 40 samples from each machine. Draw a sample item from all parts of such sublots of the inspection lot. Draw sample items blind without any bias. Now we come to the next, the systematic. When the item in a lot are presented in orderly manner, such as piles of mild steel sheets or stacks of cement bag, it is possible to considerably simply the selection of a random sample of the required size. So in a systematic sampling, one item is chosen at random from the lot and thereafter the items are selected regularly at predetermined interval. So it has been established that this method of systematic sampling is quite good approximation to the sample random sampling, provided there is no deliberate attempt to manipulate the sequence of the item in a lot in any desired manner. Now come to the cluster. So when a lot submitted for inspection consists of certain group of cluster of items, it may be advantageous and economical to select a few cluster of items and examine all items in a selected clusters. Now come to the last, that is the two-stage sampling. When the lot submitted for inspection consists of large number of packages, each consisting of a number of items, it may not be economical to select few packages and inspect all items in these packages. So in such cases, sample is selected in two stages. In first stage, a desired number of packages are selected at random, and in the second stage, the required number of items chosen at random from the selected primary units. That means first we have to take a primary sample, and from that primary sample we have to take the second sample from the primary units. Now we come to the operating characteristics curve. For operating characteristics curve for an attribute sampling plan is a graph of a fraction defective in a lot against the probability of acceptance. In a single sampling plans, three parameters are specified. Say the lot size is say 10,000, from which the sample are drawn. 89, that is a sample size, and acceptance number 2. That means if we are producing a 10,000 items and we are taking a sample of size 89, and if the 2 are defective, then we can say it is an acceptable number. That means out of 89, if 2 are deviated from the desired dimensions, then we can say it is an accepted lot. So if we take a sample of 5 items from lot of 100, it is the sample contains more than 2 defective, then lot is to be rejected. So we are taking one example. If n is equal to 100, the sample size is 5 and C is 2. So when we are inspecting these 5 samples, and if 2 are deviated from our desired dimensions, then the whole lot is to be rejected. So by changing capital N, that is a lot size, small n, that is a sample size, and C, that is a acceptance number, different sampling plan is to be obtained, from which the operating characteristics curve is differ. So when we changes these parameters, the shape of the curve is also differ. So for construct an OC curve, we should know the mathematical probability of accepting the lots with varying percent defective, and this can be obtained from the table of Poisson distributions. So this is the operating characteristics curves. In the vertical sides, that is a probability of acceptance, PA, and in the X side, horizontal sides, the proportion of the defective, that is a P dash. So in this curve, so these vertical lines, this is AQL, LTPD. So in the left of AQL, that is, this region is named as the acceptable quality regions. So in between AQL and LTPD, it is a indifferent quality regions, and beyond this, that is a objectionable quality regions. So after in the right side of LTPD, it is a objectionable quality regions, it is a indifferent, and this is a acceptability. So in the operating characteristics curves, there are two things. One is the producer risk. This AQL line intersect the curve at some point. So from this to the 1.0, it is called the producer risk, and at LTPD, from the horizontal X sides, it is a consumer risk. So with the help of this operating characteristics curves, we can define the producer risk as well as the consumer risk. So this operating characteristics curves In the left of AQL, that is called the acceptable quality, and right to LTPD, it is a objectionable quality results. So first we have to discuss the producer and risk. So there are always two parties to an acceptance procedures. One is the manufacturer and second one is a consumer. Manufacturer, that means a company who produces the product. A consumer is an agency who utilize that product. So in figure B shows an ideal operating characteristics curves for a case where it is desired accept all lot of 2% defective. That means if we are producing a product and within a lot, if the 2% components are defective, then we can say it is a acceptable. So all lots greater than 2% defective have a probability of acceptance is equal to 0. So this is the ideal OC curve, and that is not practically possible. So in ideal situation we can say that if we are, a company produces a product and within a lot we are taking a sample, and if 2% product or components are defective, then lot is to be accepted, and beyond 2% the probability of acceptance of a lot are 0. So however, no sampling plan exists that can discriminate perfectly, so it is not possible such situations. So there always remains some risk that a good lot will be rejected or a bad lot will be accepted. In acceptance sampling, sometimes we are taking a sample and sample comes in acceptable zones, but actually the product produced in a particular lots are deviated from their design specifications. So it is called a consumer risk. And sometimes a company produces a product and in a particular samples the deviation occurs more than 2% and the whole lot is to be rejected, whereas if we inspect all the product in a particular lot, we observe that the defective components are less than 2%. So we can say that it is the risk for consumer as well as the producer also. Sometimes the good lot will be rejected and sometimes the bad lot also accepted by a customer. Now first we discuss the producer risk. Sometimes the quality is good, still from sampling plan some lots are rejected. That means we have to we take the sample from a lot, inspect the sample, all the components of the samples, and if the deviation occurs with a set limit more than the set limit, then the whole lot is to be rejected. So it is the probability of rejecting good lot which otherwise would have to be accepted. So the producer should be protected against the rejection of relatively better product. The producer can decrease his risk by producing product at a better quality level than specified AQL depending on other economical considerations. We take one example, saying a producer risk is equal to 0.05. It means that in a long run about one lot in 20 will be rejected, provided that lots are coming from a process control at AQL quality level, acceptable quality level region. Now we come to the second part, the consumer risk. Some lots are accepted if the quality level is bad, but because of sampling plan and thus consumer will suffer. So in consumer risks, sometimes in a bad lot, we taken a sample from a lot, and if lot is as per desired conditions, then the lot is accepted by a customer. But actually, most of the components are deviated from the design dimensions. So it is a probability of defective lot being accepted, which otherwise would be rejected. Say, the probability of 0.10 is 2.5%, means consumer does not want a worse quality containing greater than 2.5% defective, and he would accept at most 10% of the lot containing 2.5% defective. Now, the substantial rejection of good product in the effort to exclude bad product are not necessarily in the interest of consumer. So the consumer is interested in quality and cost. So in the long run, the cost incident to rejection of good product tends to be passed on by the producer to the consumer. Secondly, that any good product that he or she rejected is not available for his immediate use. Thank you.